Welcome to Today's Homeowner with Danny Lipford. Expert advice on improving your home from the pages of Today's Homeowner magazine and remodeling contractor Danny Lipford.
Now, this house is undergoing a major renovation that includes relocating the existing kitchen from the front of the house to the rear of the house, then building an addition to provide room for a very spacious kitchen. We'll look at the layout of that kitchen and an incredible island cabinet that's being installed and give you some great information and ideas that will be very helpful to you if you're considering a kitchen remodeling. And as always, we'll have our Simple Solution segment, our Around the Yard, and our Best New Product of the Week. So stay with us. Now, part of the renovation project on this house involves relocating the original kitchen from the front of the house back to this area that originally was a dining room. Now, it's a little over 13 feet wide, but with the original wall of the house being here, it was nowhere near big enough to accomplish the type of room that the homeowners wanted, with a large kitchen and eating area combined. To accomplish that, we had to add on about 12 feet by the 13 feet, gives plenty of room to accomplish what they had in mind. The room is now over 28 feet long. Now, one of the elements behind this project the homeowners really wanted to pay a lot of attention to is the flow from one room into this kitchen area. Well, we've helped that considerably with a large 5-foot opening on this side with pocket doors, and then 2 individual openings on this side of the room to go into what will now be the new dining room. Also, to really give you a good feeling of flow from one room to the other, we've also used the same wood flooring, which is a oak hardwood. Now, you may notice kind of odd looking here with a few stain pieces mixed in with the new wood. The reason we did this is we reused a lot of the original wood that was in the dining room and mixed it in like this so that we could avoid any definite line between the old wood and the new wood. Now, once this is all sanded and refinished, it'll just look great. And we're finding a lot of people are wanting to use hardwood in their kitchens, particularly in a situation like this where we have a nice open floor plan. Now, you may see behind me some plywood on the floor. Now, this was put in on any of the areas where cabinetry would be covering it because it's far less expensive using plywood than it is to use the hardwood, because hardwood flooring can cost you as much as $9 to $10 per square foot installed. Certainly plywood's a lot less expensive than that. Now, to give you an idea of how this room will be utilized once all of the cabinets are installed, you can see our floor plan here of the finished project. We're standing right in this area against this outside wall. You can see the window right behind me here has already been installed. And we'll be installing cabinets all the way around the perimeter of the walls here and creating a real nice tight triangle between your range top, your sink, and the refrigerator. Also, a nice island with a prep sink and an eating counter on this end will accomplish just what the homeowners wanted with combining that eating or breakfast area with the new large kitchen. You know, there's a number of guidelines that are available through the National Kitchen and Bath Association that can give you some great ideas and great guidelines for what you need to consider in your new home kitchen or a renovated kitchen. Here's a few of those guidelines.
The National Kitchen and Bath Association has 40 guidelines for kitchen designers to follow, and they cover several different areas. The first area is traffic patterns, and they want to assure that you don't walk through the work triangle. So if you're going from the garage to the family room, for example, you wouldn't want to have to cut right through the kitchen work triangle to get there. The second area is appliance placement and clearances. For example, you don't want to have a cooktop below an operable window unless the window is 3 inches behind and 24 inches above the cooktop. The third area is counter space. There are recommendations for the amount of counter space that you should have by the major appliances. For example, you need a minimum of 15 inches next to the refrigerator, a minimum of 15 inches next to the oven, and 36 inches of counter space next to the sink. And of course, those are minimum standards. There are also recommended and liberal standards too. And there are so many standards that the homeowner cannot be expected to know them all. And that's where they could find a certified kitchen designer or a member of an NKBA firm, somebody who adheres to these guidelines and can help them plan their kitchen with the space that they have.
Oh, you can see the cabinet installers are moving right along on the installation of the new cabinets. And actually, by the end of the day, they should have all of the cabinets in, including a real unique island cabinet that not only provides extra countertop space for the homeowner, but also a nice little eating area as well. You know, an island can be a great addition to an existing kitchen or a remodeled kitchen like this. When we come back, we'll show you this particular island and a number of things you need to consider if you're considering an island in your kitchen.
Get ready to review your fix-it list as Danny and today's Homeowner Magazine repair and maintenance editor Joe Truini show you this week's simple solution. Brought to you by Dodge.
Low voltage landscape lighting is more popular than ever, but one of the common problems is corrosion that forms around a lot of the bulbs and can create some problems because it is an outside fixture.
The problem with corrosion is that it can cause the light to flicker, even go out completely, even if the bulb is perfectly good. So the trick is to first remove the bulb and then sand the contacts inside the socket with a little emery board or sandpaper to try to remove all the rust and corrosion you see in there. And then to prevent further corrosion and to waterproof it, spray it with a little automotive ignition sealer that you can get at any auto parts store. Light coating of the ignition sealer right on the contacts. Put the bulb back in and test the light.
And of course, for safety's sake, remember to turn off the power before you work with any electrical outlet like this. What a difference a day makes with the cabinet installers completing all of the cabinet installation here in the kitchen in just one day. All they lack is just a few trim pieces. They can turn it over to the countertop contractor who will be installing natural stone in about a week. Now, to give you an idea of the layout of the kitchen, there will be a wine captain appliance here to refrigerated storage for wine. Countertop will continue over. Then here's a nice little pantry that was built with the roll-out trays to give you good access to all of the food you may have. And then up top, adjustable shelving lends to the versatility of it, so you can store almost anything in a deep cabinet like that. Next to it, a microwave oven and your regular oven, and then a bread oven on bottom with even a little drawer for storage of some of the items you may need while you're cooking. And plenty of countertops, real important in any kitchen, the natural light coming in. And then we have a gas cooktop that'll be positioned here with a vent hood that'll be installed later to provide adequate ventilation while the cooking's taking place. Then the appliance garage I was looking at gives you the ability to push all of those coffee pots and other countertop appliances you may have out of the way, and then to really gain access to everything you have in this base cabinet, a double level Lazy Susan's perfect for that. Here, double bowl sink, little tilt outs on the front, just maximizing every bit of space that's available. Here we have a dishwasher next to that, and then right to my left is where the refrigerator will go. Nice built-in look, cabinet all around it, little cabinets up on top. So the triangle we have between the range top, the sink, and the refrigerator is close enough to really make this kitchen functional. Now there are two things we're getting a lot of requests for in kitchens these days. One of them is a little desk section that we've installed over in a little niche in the far corner of the kitchen that allows the homeowner to sit down and maybe pay a few bills and look up those favorite recipes. Now the most popular request is to have an island in the kitchen. A survey recently by the National Association of Home Builders showed that 80% of all homeowners would like an island in their kitchen. Now this island we've installed is not a real large one, but it has a lot of stuff in it. In this area we'll be installing a prep sink or a second sink, which is extremely popular now, and a garbage disposal will be attached to it. And a very important element is to have some nice adjacent countertop space for that food prep area. In the island we have a nice drawer for cutlery to go in here. In the second drawer, have a real unique bread drawer. It has a top on it that stays in place when you close it to keep all those bakery goods nice and fresh. Then down below, we have a screen that'll be installed on the front of this drawer later, and then it's well ventilated inside for perfect storage for potatoes or onions, anything like that. Now there's about as many different designs for islands as there are personalities, and to give you some ideas on what kind of island you may want in your kitchen, you may consider looking in magazines. In this past issue of our magazine, Today's Homeowner had an entire article dedicated to island design. One design is an L-shaped island that can aid in defining space in an open floor plan. Another is a multi-level design that incorporates an eating bar and helps to provide a visual break between the kitchen and adjacent living areas. Now, if your kitchen is large enough, dual islands could be used, one for preparation and one for eating. Also, you can position your cooktop on your island with the right amount of planning. Now, some of that planning will involve providing the needed utilities for the cooktop out in the island. If it's electrical, you need an electrical line. Gas, you need a gas line. But the most important part of any cooking area that you have in your kitchen is proper ventilation. Now, with an island cooktop, you could have a large vent hood coming down from the ceiling that kind of defeats the purpose of the wide open spaces that you have in a kitchen like this. That's why most homeowners choose to go with a downdraft unit that allows the ventilation to go down through ductwork, through a vent pipe, and to the outside. Now, if it's a concrete slab that you're putting down, you'll need to think about that line before you pour your concrete. If it's an existing concrete slab, you'll have to do a fair amount of trenching that can be expensive in order to trench out for the vent line. Of course, if it's a wood floor system, it's much easier to route that particular line. Now, many of the designs we looked at incorporated eating areas or an eating bar adjacent to the island, and that's what we're doing here. As soon as the electrician's out to wire a outlet on this little section of cabinetry, then the cabinet men will come back, put this into place, something like that, screw it together real well. Then when the countertop contractor comes out, he'll place a nice slab on top and have an excellent place for 3 bar stools here adjacent to the island.
It's time to check out this week's best new product with Danny and today's Homeowner Magazine Editor-in-Chief, Paul Spring.
Yeah, it works great, Paul.
You know, Danny, every year before we award Best New Products, we look at thousands of different products. One of the things we look for are very traditional tools where a company has come in and kind of redefined them, looked at the problems and made an update. And that's what's happened with True Temper here. This is the Total Control Big Step Shovel.
I can see one of the improvements right here at the bottom where you put your foot down on it. You know, if you shovel all day long, the bottom of the foot can really get sore. They've certainly addressed that.
They have. Normally you have that little roll of steel and it really can bother your arch. This is a 2.5 inch wide pad. It has this surface on it that isn't going to allow your foot to slip, and it really allows you to get a lot of leg behind the shovel, and it's a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, and it's a lot stronger too with having the welded edge around here. Kind of at that right angle really strengthens it real well.
Yeah, in fact, it's reinforced all the way up. There's a 10-year warranty on this shovel.
Okay, and here's another thing they've done with the grip up here. Without this, you can really get some blisters, especially up here on the end. That's a big improvement.
You sure can. This is a non-slip grip, so you don't have to worry even in the summertime when your hands are warm. It also is a little bigger, so you don't have to grip it quite as hard. And again, you're not going to get that blister right up here in the palm of your hand as you're shoveling away.
Well, you know, one of the things I was a little skeptical about is thinking this might be a $50 shovel, but actually it's only $18. So they've made a great improvement to an old classic tool without costing you an arm and a leg. In over 20 years as a remodeling contractor, I've never really seen a job without at least one significant change. The change here in the kitchen came once this bar area was installed. The homeowner decided this was a little too tall for them to have their actual bar top, so they had the cabinet man come back and lower the supports or corbels down to a lower level, around 38 inches, so that we'll have a countertop section down here, as well as a small little top here. So it really turned out real nice, and everybody's happy. Now, of course, the island area that I mentioned earlier will have a prep sink in it. Now, prep sink's very popular, and many homes now that are remodeled and new are choosing a second sink to allow 2 cooks to work at the same time. Now, of course, this sink will have a garbage disposal, and one of the problems that you have in a garbage disposal is the location of the switch. If we located the switch on this end, it would be a little too accessible for the children in the house. If you located it on this side, your hands would probably be wet as you're moving over to switch the switch. Wet hands, electrical switch, not a good idea. And also all of the water that would continually accumulate on the countertop would be a problem as well. The solution is an air activation switch that has been used for years on a Whirlpool tub. Basically, you have this unit that mounts down below the sink in the cabinet below, and you just plug it in, and then the actual control can be mounted in the countertop or on the framework or ledge around the sink. And to turn it on, it's just the air volume inside the actual tube that controls the on and off of the garbage disposal. So it's a great safe way of controlling that type of problem. Now, of course, the garbage disposal, the main component is the motor itself.
You have two different types of motors and disposers. One is typically very small, and it actually is about the size of one that's used in a blender. This is the same motor that's used in a dishwasher, a washing machine, giving you a really strong, long life. And that's what you're looking for in a product, that when you put food waste down into that disposer, it isn't going to slow down and then ultimately end up with a jamming situation. So a lot of power is very good, particularly with somebody that's has a lot of food waste in their home.
Now, one clear advantage when you select a good quality food disposer is it's much quieter when you're using it. Now, the granite countertops will be installed in just a couple days, and the homeowners have selected for their prep sink a 19-inch by 16-inch stainless steel under-counter mounted bowl. It'll look great with this granite countertop and the little polished rim, and it's very functional with being able to wipe the countertop straight in with no lip or anything around the sink. Now, the fabricators are attaching the bowl to the granite slab so that when they bring it out in a couple of days, it'll be nice and dry and will be permanently attached to that slab of granite. Now, they selected a stainless steel bowl. They could have gone with an enamelized metal bowl or a cast iron sink, which are the same choices you have when you're looking at your traditional kitchen sink. Now, you can still get the double bowl, regular run-of-the-mill type sink, but you can also get the same configuration much deeper. Also, something that's real popular now is the triple sink. A standard bowl on either side with a small bowl right in the middle, which is perfect for another food disposer to be attached. Also, you can get them with a large bowl on one side and a smaller one, or almost any configuration that you can think of. But if you're thinking of one of the more specialty line sinks, you need to allow yourself plenty of ordering time. Sometimes those can be 2 to 3 weeks out before you receive them. Now, stay with us next, Around the Yard.
Now, let's go outside for Around the Yard with Danny and lawn and garden expert Jennifer Brennan. Brought to you by Scott's Lawn Products, for a great lawn, guaranteed.
All lawns need adequate water to really be good and healthy, but how do you know if your lawn is getting enough water?
Lawns need 1 to 2 inches of water per week to survive, and that can be provided with rainfall, which is easy to measure with a rain gauge. Or you can provide the balance with your sprinkler system. Here's an easy method to measure how much your sprinkler system is providing for your lawn. It's as easy as getting small containers like tin cans or these small food containers and placing them throughout the area where the sprinkler will be running. Put them in a level spot so it will hold the water, and then turn your sprinkler system on and start timing. When you get an inch of water in the container, then you know you've delivered an equivalent of an inch of rain. Now you know how long it takes to get an inch of water on your lawn. You have just calibrated your irrigation system. So whether you get water from Mother Nature or your own sprinklers, you'll have a healthy lawn.
Well, over the last couple of days, this kitchen has really come together, and we've shown you a lot of progress in this week's show, going from an empty room to a room that looks like this. This kitchen is almost complete. Next week, we'll show you the completed kitchen and take a closer look at granite countertops and some of the cost and installation methods behind that. And we'll give you some great tips on selecting appliances for your dream kitchen. I hope you'll join us next week here on Today's Homeowner.